Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you reset again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you reset again. Idle champions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Saturday Morning Gartoons. Wait, no. Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. That's the show we're doing right now. I'm Gaarawarr, and I'm here to talk at you for a while and then answer some questions. With me today, producing the show backstage, Martin. The Martin is here. Today's topic is going to be Highharvestide Year 6, so we're going to talk about events in general, how they work, Highharvestide specifically, and of course Year 6 specifically, including Egbert, Torragar, and Dahani. We'll cover all of those champions and answer all your questions about that. If you have questions about any of this, as you see right down below me, put question : in front of your question. That way it actually highlights for Martin on their end. And they can easily see it and grab it and throw it in the document, because you can ask questions the entire show, but I'm going to spend the first hour-ish just talking, and then the second hour is going to be questions. So you can throw the question in at any time, but that's going to make sure that Martin can grab it, and I can then address it in the second half of the show. All right. We're going to hop right in. So this is, for those of you who, there are a lot of new people playing the game lately. For those of you who are newer, welcome to your first event. We had like 3 weeks where there were no events at all. And now you finally get to understand what an event is. Events normally happen all the time. Events normally happen every 3 weeks. Usually there's one that goes on they last about 12 days. And then there's, a little over a week where we don't have one. And there's usually a content drop and a free time gate weekend. And then an event starts again. And they happen all the time. They always show up with 3 champions, and give you a bunch of stuff to do. This is how Idle Champions gives you champions every month. Between the 3 in an event and the 1 in a time gate, if you're new, you're going to get like at least 4 champions a month, and some gear for them, right? So normally you've got this little map here, and you got all these campaigns on the little banner on the left, but when there's an event, it goes right to the top. Highharvestide, boom. You click on it, there's just the one adventure node. And you'll see 3 adventures, and normally these will just, these will be regular adventures, not free plays. And the reward down here will be the champion themselves. So, Toragard, Dahani, Egbert, this is how you unlock them. You just go do this adventure. Pretty straightforward. Okay, this is free plays, yeah. You only have to get to area 50 to unlock the champion. And bam, suddenly, potentially within just a few hours of an event starting, you can have 3 brand new champions. So each champion kind of has their own event in a sense, in that they have their own formation layout. As you can see, we've got this one for a Toragard, single tank front line, kind of a gap in the middle, etc. Not horrible for new players. We have this one for Dahani. Horrible for new players. having this extension up here with 3 on their own is real rough early on. As you get more champions, this becomes totally fine, but this one could be rough for newer players. And then Egbert's is a cow head. It's like a cow skull because that's his god, is a cow. So this one's actually fantastic. So if you're looking for a formation layout to use to push as deep as you possibly can in High Harvestide Year 6, Egbert's got you covered. This one's, I personally, yesterday, if you were watching Gaarawarr's guide Gaarawarr's guide to everything in Idle Champions, that's the name of my show, right? I actually ended up I was in the 1300s. On stream yesterday. I got to 1400 on this one on my account, which I think is probably my deepest push ever. I don't usually try to go that far, but I did. So this one will do you right. This one will do you right. So each champion will have not only their own formation layout, they're going to have their own variants once you do the regular adventure. But we'll get to that in a moment. But otherwise, they're all going to use the same kind of mechanics. They'll all have the same enemies that you're running into, the same Area 50 boss fight. All that's going to be the same, because all of that is just based around it being High Harvestide. They're also going to have their own kind of favor. This is Shantaea's favor this time around. We also have event tokens that are always a thing in High Harvestide. These are harvest baskets. Event tokens are what you actually use to do your adventures. If you'll note here, these all have a cost. Like this free play costs 500 baskets because I haven't done any free plays for Toragard or Dahani. Different things are going to count different amounts of money, and it's always going to be full price for the newest champion. And by full price, I mean it's going to be the highest cost for the year. We're on 6, so the year 4 and 5 champions, Dahani and Toragard, they're at their discounted rates. So you can grab everything and gear stuff up. You earn harvest baskets primarily just by waiting. You get 1 every 25 seconds. 1 every 25 seconds. There's no way to speed that up. It's a server-side calculation. Doesn't matter how many parties you're running. It doesn't matter if you're using speed champions. Doesn't matter. 1 every 25 seconds. Now, there is a way to get more, and that is to use bounty contracts. Bounty contracts are one of the consumables you get from opening chests. It's one of the reasons I recommend opening lots of gold chests, because you get lots of bounty. That's where you're going to get all the different most of the different values, the higher values of bounty contracts. But you also get them opening silver chests too. So open everything that you get. But they drop time-based rewards. They drop an amount of offline gold based off the time that the contract says it's rewarding you. But more importantly, because the gold isn't that great, folks. More importantly, during an event, they're going to drop bounty tokens. So saving up all of your bounty contracts and using them during an event is a big win for you. So do that. Because then you can get thousands and thousands, hopefully, of harvest baskets. And by getting more of them, you can get more gear. Because once you've done the unlock adventures and you've unlocked the champion, it becomes a free play. The adventure becomes a free play. And you'll see down here, you get... well, it doesn't... Why does it still... The year of our Dwarven Lord 2022, and it still doesn't tell you that you get a random chest as a reward. So it's in the tooltip. It gives you either a silver or a gold chest. A silver or gold chest for that champion. There's no way to improve your chances of getting a gold. You just have to complete Area 50 in a free play and then reset. Going deeper doesn't help. There's no manipulations to it. It is a 1 in 3 chance that a free play in an event is going to drop a gold chest. If you do 3 free plays for, say, Egbert, you do not get a gold chest, then on your 4th, you're guaranteed to get one. That means there's a pity timer of 4 to get a gold chest out of free plays. Now, you could run 4 free plays and get 4 gold chests. That has happened. But just know that you're at least going to get 1 out of every 4. And this is great because when free plays start, they start off at 500 harvest baskets like here. But every time you do one, the cost goes up by 500. But it caps at 2,500. That means that for 4 free plays, it's going to cost you 10,000 harvest baskets. And if you go in the store, you'll notice that if you click on the champion and their chest, you'll notice you can buy a single gold chest for 10,000 harvest baskets. Don't do this. Do 4 free plays. 4 free plays gets you a guaranteed gold chest plus potentially 3 silver chests up to 3 gold. So it is much more effective for your gear farming to run free plays than to just buy chests out of the store. And about now you're going, well then Gaarawarr, why did they put that in there? Because on Monday, hold on. Not this, Monday the 10th, day before my birthday. Monday the 10th, at noon Pacifically, the event will end, and when it ends, all of your tokens will disappear. Now, if you didn't have a chance to run free plays over the weekend, and you find it at Monday at 11:45, you're looking at this going, oh my god, I've got 10,000 harvest baskets. What am I going to do? You can just go buy a gold chest, a guaranteed gold chest out of the store. That's what it's for. It's just so that, at the end of the event, if you didn't have a chance to burn off all your tokens, you can at least, if you have 10,000 or more, you can get one. But the rest of the time, please, please, please run free plays. Again, you just have to go to 50. If you've got a Modron, you can set your automation up to 50. It will automatically beat the boss, collect your chest, restart, do it again. As long as you've got tokens, it will restart automatically. And the cool thing is with the Modron, if you're at like 2,498 tokens, it won't restart. It'll keep going. But every time it finishes a level, it checks to see if you have enough tokens. And once you hit 2,500, it'll restart and start a new run. It's pretty cool like that. All right, so let's talk about variants. Each champion is going to have 3 of their own types of variants. Variants lately are really focused on teaching you how to use the champion. Some of the older variants are like that, but nowadays all the variants are like that. So like for Egbert, we'll see that it's all about trying to learn different features of Egbert. Let's go look at Toragars. Now, one thing I want to point out is you can see all of these show as difficulty easy for me. That is because I have an outrageous amount of favor. The difficulty ratings in this game are solely 100% only ever based on the amount of favor you have for that campaign. This is why when you go to a new campaign, it shows as like deadly or challenging. And there's no way to change that. You just got to hop in and get your grind on, try stuff out. There's no way to affect that. Now, just because it says deadly doesn't mean you can't actually make some progress. It just means, hey, you're probably really not going to enjoy this at all, and you may not get to the completion area. So keep that in mind. I recommend for variants, just in general in the game, don't even begin to attempt them, in my opinion, as a new player, until they show as easy. That means you're going to at least have enough favor in their mind to make it a little bit easier, but what you're going to run into, you still have to look at the restriction. Down here at the bottom, where it says restrictions, there's going to be something that makes this harder than a regular adventure. And that means you're probably not going to be able to push as far. And you may even need a little more favor to make it through. Yeah. So don't just look at this and go, oh, it's easy, I can beat that. You might not be able to. You might not be able to. So make sure you look at this and look at the restriction. Make an educated, informed decision about whether you can do this or not. So, 4, Torgar, an Abyssal Mess. The first variant's always going to be completing to area 75. The second's always going to 125, and the third's always going to 175. So keep that in mind. So, an Abyssal Mess, 2 Abyssal Chickens start in slots in the formation, and every 25 areas another one takes up an additional slot. We've seen these kind of variants before. They're annoying. At least in this one, we only have to get to 75. You're going to lose, they have X's everywhere, but you're going to lose 2 at the start, so you're starting this off with 8 champions. And you're going to finish with 7. Because you're really only going to lose 1 at... Oh, no. You're going to finish with 6. So you have to have enough favor to be able to finish this with 6 champions. For this one, because it doesn't have any other restrictions, what I recommend is just waiting until the third variant shows as easy. What that means is you will have far more than enough favor here to upgrade your champions kind of ahead of the difficulty curve of this and overpower the variant. So keep that in mind. Now, the reason I say wait is because, again, these are going to cost you harvest tokens, harvest baskets, event tokens. If you attempt, the moment you open this up and try to start it, it charges you your tokens. If you fail, well, you're just out those tokens. And while for 250 that may not be a big deal, you want to get into the habit of waiting to do these until you're done, because when you get down here to the highest level for the newest champion, it's 5,000 harvest baskets, and failing that one's a big deal. That's 2 free plays, 2 of the high-end, most expensive free plays that could get you gear. Don't waste your tokens, folks. So Abyssal Mass, just wait until probably the Dark Order arrives, shows up as green, and you should be guaranteed to get through it. Confirmed sightings. A little play on words. Only champions with a con score of 14 or higher can be used. The Resurrected Hero of the Veil, which is the boss here on Area 50, appears in Area 25 as an additional boss. Now, the Resurrected Hero of the Veil is one of the easiest bosses in this game. If you haven't encountered them yet, just know it's a hit-based boss. It's going to look like, oh no, it's got all these segments. No, anybody can take a segment off. So yeah, it's one of the reasons I was able to push as far in this adventure, or in this event. So just know, not that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal. The big deal here is the stat restriction. So con 14 or higher. This might restrict out some champions that you like to use. You might not be able to fill out a full formation. So for every empty formation layout slot you have, try to get an extra at least EO1 favor. Now I'm talking in scientific notation. If you're not using scientific notation on yet, you can turn it on in the settings, or you can just hit Y if you're on PC while you're playing, and it'll swap automatically. It is the easiest way for us to communicate between each other in terms of how much progress you have and how much more progress you need to get. Because memorizing all of those letters and combinations is not a thing anybody wants to do. So it's very easy for me to tell you, hey, just get an extra EO1 favor. That's an order of magnitude. That's basically add another 0 onto the end of what you're doing. And it's going to be better for you. Do that EO1 for each empty slot at least. That means, for confirmed sightings, maybe get this to show as green again before you do it. And honestly, I kind of recommend when you're starting off an event, do the unlock adventures. Treat each unlock adventure like a favor push. Go as far as you can and get some favor, and then do the next one as a favor, and do the next one as a favor. And if you're still not at EO 8 or higher favor, which is what should make these trigger as green, find a good free play like Egbert's, and keep favor pushing. Don't worry about doing the variants just yet. Just get as much favor as you can to make sure they all show as green. Once they do, then go do all the variants. If you're brand new and you're having trouble getting to EO8 favor, you might just have to stop once the second one shows as green, and then only maybe this event you only do the first 2. Right? It can happen sometimes. Okay. The Dark Order arrives. So this one is going to require to use Torgar and Archon. Archon is a starting core champion. He's in slot 12. Torgar and Archon start in the formation and cannot be moved or swapped out. They start right up here. You'll show the little C is for champ. C is for champion. It's not for cookie. Man, we need champ. Someone needs to make champion cookies. We have champion pancakes, but see, you can tell I'm hungry today, folks. They're going to start out up here in the formation. Only members of the Dark Order, which are Torgar, Archon, and Krull, who's another event champion, can deal damage. All other champions have their DPS disabled, but can still contribute formation abilities. So basically, they're trying to get you to use either Archon or Krull as your DPS, or both. Archon is a tank DPS. Archon or Torgar, excuse me. Torgar is a DPS support. Honestly, Torgar works better as a support for evil champions. So keep that in mind. But build out a formation for that. Archon has some weird rules. He doesn't like... Yeah, he's got some weird rules. I've got a guide for that. Go check it out on the subreddit. But yeah, you're going to probably... Because of Archon's weird rules, you may need... even when this is easy, it might be a little challenging to you. What I recommend for that is do this... put Archon and Torgar in on a free play. On a Torgar free play. Right up here where they're supposed to be. And then build out a formation and see if you can get to 175. With Archon or Torgar being the person who's doing your DPS. Which means setting your bud. Which is on next to the ultimate bar, there's a little lightning symbol and the numbers. Hover over that. It'll show you who's your actual DPS. Make sure it's Archon or Torgar. If you can do that, then swap into a regular formation, push deeper, and then switch out to grab a little bit more favor. Switch, complete it, and then go do the Dark Order because you can, right? So it's just a way to test out your formations before actually wasting tokens. Because in a free play, you can pre-check some of these stat restrictions or stiff requirements on who's in there, and see if you can build formations to complete it. And then if you can't, well, you can swap up your formation and then treat it like a free favor push. All right, Dahani. Dahani's first variant is Red Alert. Champion damage and gold find is reduced by 99%. This scares a lot of new players. And what I'm going to tell you is don't be scared. It's okay. Because we're dealing with large numbers, not that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal. When you're talking scientific notation, this is basically just less than 2 orders of magnitude of a reduction in your damage and your gold find. So what does that mean? Get another 2 orders of magnitude of favor. So wait until Bullywug Brawl shows as easy, and then do Red Alert, and you've totally negated the gold find reduction. And because you now have a gold find, you're going to be able to still level up your champions, and the champion damage will be fine. If you want, wait until, like I said, wait until doubling down shows as green. Do it. Not going to be a problem. You'll completely negate that restriction by having more favor. Favor is the big stick you beat things with in an event. Because the requirements aren't that hard. The highest level you're ever going to have to get to is 175. So getting over E08 favor means you can just beat the variant with favor, ultimately. So enemies who have not been painted by Dahani's attacks move 100% faster. Not really much of a restriction. They're just coming at you faster, which means your tank might take a little beating, but as long as you've got the damage to kill things, you'll be fine. There's a lot of information here on getting to know Dahani, but it's basically we'll find out here in a moment when we cover Dahani. When she attacks an enemy with her basic attack, she paints them. She paints them red, hence Red Alert. So yeah, basically once she attacks somebody, they're going to slow down. Bullywug Brawl. Bullywug Brawl is the next variant. Bullywugs appear in each formation. They do not drop in each formation. It's not, that's a typo. It's in each area. They're not in your formation. They do not drop gold, nor do they count towards quest progress. That's not a typo. They just use the whole wrong word. So basically, this is what I call a swarm variant. They're just trying to throw a lot of extra enemies at you, and they don't really give you progress. It's just other things to kill. One of her specializations is it turns her basic attack into an AoE. It's a stroke of green. You're gonna want to, I think. Anyway, you're gonna want to go with the one that turns it into an AoE. It's the middle spec. We'll cover it in a moment. Only champions with dex of 14 or higher can be used. So again, the main restriction here is that there's a stat restriction. So you may not be able to use all the champions you normally use. And again, if you're restricted down, just get some extra gold, get some extra favor, and you'll be fine. And you'll be fine. Doubling down. The effects of Dahani's specializations are doubled. That's nice. This is a restriction. That isn't a restriction. It's a bonus. Quest requirements are doubled. Dang it. Now, honestly, this is my favorite restriction. Quest requirements are doubled because, sure, it means it's going to take you longer to clear 175, but you're going to get twice as much gold on the way doing it, which means it's going to be super easy because if you've got to kill twice as many things, you're earning twice as much gold. That's math. So you're going to be able to upgrade quicker. You're going to just fly right through this, right? In each boss area, a second boss spawns. Both bosses must be defeated in order to progress. You're going to have, again, you're going to have double gold, which means you're going to be upgrading your champions faster, and none of this is a problem. So this is probably the easiest 175 variant you're going to run into. It's just going to take you a little longer to get through it, but that's fine. Egbert arrives with this event. This is the first time we've seen Egbert. So getting to know Egbert is something all of us are having to do for the first time. So delay tactics. Egbert starts in the formation. He can't be moved or removed. This is how you know they want you to get to know a champion. He's right up here. You can see the C is in the tank column. It's because Egbert's tank. Spoilers. Enemies can take at most 10% of their max health per hit and damage for the first 10 seconds after they appear. This means basically they will appear and get to Egbert and probably hit him, or at least they'll try to. He's got a thing for that. Before you can ever really kill them. So it's fine. Again, this is one of those, it's going to slow your progress down. Because you're probably, early on at low levels, you'll hit them 10 times before they get to you. But later, you're just going to have to wait until the 10 seconds wears off, and then you'll kill everything. Speed potions last twice as long, so they're giving you a little bonus. Hey, throw a speed potion in, and this will be a little faster for you, as long as you weren't going to use a speed potion before. But if you were, hey, it's going to last twice as long, right? So they're trying to make it a little easier and not have it be super painful, which I appreciate. Second one, kicked out of Le Dragon d'Or. Egbert starts in the formation and his Atonement of the Past, and this is not the name of the ability, it's Atone for the Past. At some point, they changed the name and they forgot to update this. Ability starts out unlocked. This is his main ability. We'll cover it in a moment. He can't be moved or removed. If Egbert has positive atonement points, only lawful champions can deal damage. Otherwise, only chaotic champions can deal damage. This is just a feature. This is one of his features. It's how he works. We'll cover it in depth in a moment. So just know you have to either build... you have to make sure that if you're going to use a lawful DPS, that you have positive points, which means more lawful people. Otherwise, if you're going to run chaotic people, then your DPS has to be chaotic as well. That's what's going on here, because that's how his ability works. Okay, Egbert the Careless. Egbert starts in the formation. He can't be moved or removed. Once again, he's in that tank spot. Every 10 seconds, Egbert accidentally drops a lit bomb. Really, bro? Which bounces back at... Really? And explodes, dealing a random amount of damage up to the area's number to a random champion other than Egbert and anyone standing next to them. Dude. Now, this is a fun mechanic. Because you only have to go to 175, that means the most damage you're ever going to take is 175. That's not, you're going to... while a champion on their own might not have that, like a squishy champion on their own might not have that, one of the features of tanks is they have a health share. So as long as you get some tanks in here and you get upgraded to their health share, not going to be a big deal. However, I will tell you, the best thing you can do is simply to use Calliope. Calliope is a core champion. She's in slot 5. She has a temporary HP shield she gives to people. And if you put her in her lore spec, her College of Lore spec, she resets those shields every 10 seconds when someone takes damage. So, you know, if someone's not super tanky and goes down in the first shot, whoops. But I'll give you a tip. Her ultimate applies shields to everyone in the party before anyone takes damage. So as long as you level her up to the point where she has her ultimate, you can hit it. Everybody will get these nice big shields. And then she'll reapply shields every 10 seconds, and then you'll really never have to worry about these bombs. So this is one of those things that, you know, it's going to happen. Egbert's got a heal, so he'll top anybody off if they live through it, but take some damage. But really, use Calliope shields, folks. Just makes everything easier. All right, let's hop in. I think I'll hop into an Egbert. Phrasing. Let's get our event champ. Oh no, I've got my Modron core in. It's going to load up all kinds of stuff right away. Oh, nope. Stop. Turn. Oh no, I turned it off already. Ah, I'm smart. I turned it off before I got in here. Whew. Good for me. All right, I'm going to throw some familiars out just to make this easy. So let's see. We got Dahani in slot 1. We got Torragar over here in slot 10. I should probably put him in something that people will recognize him in. And we've got Egbert in slot 7. So let's put some people out here. Torragar's in his gladiator outfit. Let me make him a little more recognizable for folks. Did I have something? No, okay. She's in her regular skin. All right, so here we go, folks. These are our champions in this event. We're going to take this one slot at a time. Let's start with Dahani. Dahani's an Aarakocra Kensei monk. DPS gold roll. So I'm going to tell you right now, DPS. She's a DPS. She only gets gold. She only has gold find in one of her specializations, and honestly, nope. Don't choose that. Don't choose that specialization. I mean, if you're brand new, you can choose that specialization, but there's reasons not to. I'll tell you in a moment. She joins us from the Rivals of Waterdeep. Dahani, Gosrick, Kent is not in the game. Celise and Shaka, but maybe that's a hint, folks. Basic attack, Fists of Fury. Dahani attacks a random painted enemy. If no enemies are painted, Dahani attacks the nearest enemy. So this is a feature where Dahani jumps out, attacks somebody, and like I said, she paints them. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Level 30 upgrade. And then if she already has a painted enemy, then she's going to keep attacking the painted enemies until they're dead. Which is nice. But if nobody's painted, then she's just going to attack the nearest person to help protect her tank, and then just keep beating them until they're dead. Like you do. She's a murder bird. Paint them red. When Dahani attacks, she paints the enemy red. An enemy can be painted up to 3 times. Dahani's damage is increased by an amount for each stroke of paint on the screen, stacking additively. On the screen, not like on the enemies on your screen. Not like, don't get some paint on your screen, folks. So you can stack this on a single enemy up to 3 times. But if you are hitting lots of different enemies, as I said later on, there's an AoE for this. That means the AoE is real nice because she's going to count all of those paint stacks and give herself a bonus damage for every single one. AoE spec, best spec. So paint them red, really nice as you start stacking up paint stacks. Friendly Rivalry. Dahani's damage is increased by an amount for each rival of water. Oh, it's 200%. This one's flat. It doesn't change. For each rival of Waterdeep in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. Multiplicatively is the good way, folks. This This doesn't mean you absolutely have to use the Rivals of Waterdeep with her. But when you do, there's going to be a bonus. There's going to be a bonus. And the bonus gets bigger by a lot based off how many you're using. But build your formation out in the most effective way. Try it with the Rivals, but it may work out that she's just better with other supports. It just depends. Way of the Brush. This is her real monk stuff. Dahani's damage is increased by 100%. Dahani keeps track of the total number of enemies she has painted across all time. This is a permanently stacking ability. At certain thresholds of painted enemies, Dahani increases her layer of Way of the Brush. Each layer increases this effect by an additional 100%, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. Once Dahani reaches layer 10, each additional enemy painted increases the buff, so it continues by 0.03% additively. So even when you get to the full layer 10, it's going to look at all of these stacks and give you bonuses. It takes a lot of farming to get Dahani to layer 10. Gaarawarr, what's a lot of farming? Like 6 point something million, I think. I'm in the 7 millions now. Total painted enemies. It's a lot. It takes a lot of farming, folks. I highly recommend variants like with Dahani and Torgar specifically. You get them both in a combo package this event, which is great. There is a variant called Twilight Twist in Waterdeep. If you have, if you haven't done it yet, don't complete it. You want a variant like that for stacking Dahani and Torgar. Why? Because in Twilight Twist, basically you kill these undead enemies, and after a few seconds, they get back up again. They get knocked down, and they get up again. Now, the nice thing about this means that eventually, you can do this on level 1. Eventually, because they're a special type of enemy, there's just going to be 100 of them on the screen, and they're going to be falling down when you hit them, and then they're going to get back up again, and then they're going to fall down, and then they're going to get back up again. And you can farm 100 stacks at a time. You can put on the epic speed potion that never goes away, and just sit there and farm stacks until they get what they need. And it's fantastic. It's the most efficient way to do it. Now, if you don't have Twilight Twist open, there are other variants like that. Relentless Peril in Vernus, a couple others out there. But try to aim for something like that to stack up your Dahani and Torgar. We'll talk about their stacking features, but this is Way of the Brush. Again, Dahani's AoE spec makes this real nice because you have 100 enemies all grouped together. She just AoEs them. They all fall down. Then they all get back up, and then they all fall down again. And you only need 3 champions in your formation for this. A tank so when they get up, they don't hit Dahani or Torgar, and then Dahani and Torgar in your formation next to each other, for reasons we'll go over when we talk about Torgar. All right. So, permanently stacking champion. Specialization choices. Hey, let's talk about the specialization. Splash of Yellow. This is the gold find. Enemies Dahani paint also gain a splash of yellow. Enemies painted in this way drop 200% more gold when they're killed. That's it. That's her entire gold find feature. So, if you want to stay single target murder burb, you can, and you can get some gold find bonus, but honestly, I'm going to jump over to Blotch of Blue. It's on the right-hand one. Enemies Dahani paints also gain a Blotch of Blue. Enemies painted in this way are stunned for 2 seconds when Dahani attacks them. And boss enemies painted in this way take 800% more damage from all attacks. This is a bit of a boss killer spec. That's what it's supposed to be. But again, 800% nice. But, Stroke of Green, folks. Enemies Dahani paints also gain a Stroke of Green. Enemies painted in this way cause Dahani's attacks against them to damage nearby enemies as well at 50% damage. This effect does not chain, but does apply paint to the enemies it damages. So, again, spreading her paint them red, because it just turns her basic attack into an AoE, and you paint everything red and green, and she stacks up her bonuses. It's better. This is the better boss killer. Easily, but you can't easily swap between specializations. There's potions for that. There's a hack with Modron cores, but or background parties, but yeah. Stroke of Green, best spec. Just straight up best spec for Dahani. Let me switch this over so I don't have to hold those buttons down. Level her up. Okay. Oh, familiar. Flurry of Brushes is her ultimate attack. I just want to make sure. Yeah, okay, that's everything. Flurry of Brushes is her ultimate attack. Tahani pulls a quiver of sharpened paintbrushes from her robes and flings them out at 5 random enemies. They deal damage and apply Tahani's paints to all enemies they hit. So this is a way for you to get to hit 5 things and paint 5 enemies, and thus it is a power-up feature, especially if you're using one of her single target specs, because instantly you're going to get 5 stacks of red across enemies, along with whatever other you had there. And then remember, those stack up to give her damage bonuses. So it's basically, let's give Tahani more damage if you haven't painted if you haven't painted anyone on the screen yet. Here's kind of what it looks like. Boom. It's just darts come out. It's kind of hard to catch. Hopefully you saw it, because I'm not doing it again for 90 seconds. Gear-wise, she is a DPS and gold, so she's selfish. So she gets 2 self-damage items. She gets a Paint Them Red item, which is nice. She gets the Friendly Rivalry. That's the bonus for working with her friends from the rivals. Then she gets an ultimate attack, damage, and ultimate cooldown reduction. Feat-wise, we see self-damage, we see Paint Them Red, we see Friendly Rivalry. It's almost like they're on a theme here. We do get a straight-up gold find feat, if you want that. But that's going to be it, right? Because that's all she does. If you just want to get some extra gold, you could throw the 25% gold in for something, but otherwise you're going to run around. Why do I have? Oh, that's because I don't have this new one. I should get that. But this should be this. Yeah. So basically you're going to run just the biggest numbers for like Paint Them Red and self-damage when you're using her as a DPS, unless you've got a full rivals party, and then you might swap this 40% with this 40%. But if you can get these the 60 and the 80, there you go. There you go. Bigger numbers for her primary features. All right, that's Tahani. Let's talk about Toragaar. Toragaar, if you didn't notice, is the giant minotaur on the screen with the flaming swords. Well, they're flaming when he attacks, at least. You'll see him when he winds up here in a moment. They spin and light on fire. Yeah, there they go. Toragaar joins us from the Dark Order. This is from the Realms of Waterdeep is a stream, by the way. It's been around for many seasons. It's fantastic. The Dark Order is found in the Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus campaign book. It's Archon Krull and Toragaar. There are more, we just don't have more in the game. Minotaur Barbarian, a DPS support. Again, he can DPS. I find him, I would recommend him as a support, but he only supports evil champions. So keep that in mind. Fiery Longswords is the base attack. Toragaar inflames his golden blades and then attacks the nearest enemy, which is what we saw a moment ago. Markings of a Zealot. Whenever Toragaar or an adjacent champion kills an enemy, either Toragaar or adjacent champion, Toragaar gains a Zealot stack. Toragaar's damage is increased by an amount, a very tiny amount, for each Zealot stack he has collected additively, and stacks persist through resets. Permanently stacking champion. That's 2 champions in this event that gain permanent stacks. This is why you want to run Tahani and Toragaar in that variant I was talking about and stack them together. You might as well, because they both need the stacks. They both need the stacks to be I will say functional. You get them stacked up so that they can be at their best and serve you functionally in your formations. All right, Preach. Increase the damage of all other evil champions by an amount for each Zealot stack Toragaar has. So those stacks are also going to power his support buff. Notice it says all other evil champions, so this doesn't apply to Toragaar himself. It is a larger number, if you'll notice, 0.457, 0.579. So he actually buffs others better than he buffs himself. This is why I said he's a better support. For the stacks you're going to get, he's going to be a better support. Now, that could base off items. We'll talk about that in a moment, but generally speaking, probably a better support than DPS. Blood Rage. Whenever Torgar's Zealot stacks reach a multiple of 50, so basically anytime 50, 100, 150, anytime you see, anytime it's past that 50 mark, Torgar enters a blood range for 30 seconds. While active, if Torgar fails to kill an enemy, he adds a mark of Tiamat to them. Dark Order worships Tiamat, folks, if you didn't know that. Increasing the damage taken from all champions by 300%. At several Zealot stack levels, Blood Rage adds additional benefits. I forgot to mention this. Torgar doesn't just stack purely, he has thresholds that he reaches. And for certain of his abilities, when you reach those certain thresholds, not unlike Dahani's Lair of the Brush, he gets bonus abilities. So we'll talk about those in a bit. So, Blood Rage basically activates a lot of these bonus abilities, and if he hits something as a support and he doesn't kill it, he's gonna give everybody more damage and trigger these bonus effects. Now this is only going to happen. It'll last for 30 seconds. It only happens when you've killed 50 enemies. There's a way around that. We'll talk about that in a moment. And we'll talk about it right now. Bull Rush. Torgar lowers... Oh, well, no, we'll talk about it in a moment with the specialization. Bull Rush. Torgar lowers his head and rushes a random distant enemy, leaving a trail of fire in his wake. The fire deals damage over time to anyone who stands in it. Here we go. Boom. And then you just get this burning sensation when you walk through it. If it persists more than 4 hours, see a doctor. So that's his ultimate. We can tie this ultimate into his specializations, though. Tiamat's Rage, the one on the right. That's what we're going to talk about first. Increase the duration of Blood Rage by 15 seconds. That means you get 45 seconds of these bonuses. Also now triggers when Torgar's ultimate is used. This means Blood Rage triggers when you use the ultimate. So now, instead of waiting for those multiples of 50, you can just hit the ultimate. Instantly triggers the Blood Rage for 45 seconds. Instantly triggers it for 45 seconds. The cooldown, mine's down to 73 seconds, but starting off it's going to be higher than this. But that means that fairly often you can have the ultimate up to trigger it. It's good to trigger in a boss fight. Just make sure that it's lit up. Or if you've built up a wave and you're not killing everything, and he hasn't triggered, and obviously if you're not killing anything, you can't trigger the Blood Rage. You hit the ultimate, trigger the Blood Rage, right? So this is really the best for pushing. Tiamat's Rage is what you're going to use the vast majority of the time. Tiamat's Word. This is for stacking. If you want to try to stack him up with other evil champions, Torgar now gains a Zealot stack when any evil champion kills an enemy, max 1 stack per kill. So if you're using Tiamat as a support for an evil champion, and you just want to get more stacks during this run, you're not worried about the damage, you think you're fine, you're doing lower level stuff, go ahead and take Tiamat's Word, and you'll be able to get more stacks with him, even if he's not the DPS. But again, for pushing, whether he's support or DPS, you want to go Tiamat's Rage. Make it real easy for you there. Dark Order Synergy. There isn't one. There is, but don't worry about it. Increase the effect of Preach by 100% for each Dark Order member adjacent to Torgar. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just straight up. The Dark Order Synergy is not in a great place, so don't factor that into your placement. Just use Torgar. And Torgar doesn't have to be adjacent to anybody. I mean, he does it. He needs to be adjacent to an evil DPS if you're stacking him up, but he buffs all evil champions. So formation placement isn't as restrictive. All right. So markings of a Zealot. Now remember, these stack a lot. I've got a couple million of them. I really should have put him in. Really should have put him in with Dahani when I was stacking her up, but I forgot. I had stacked him up separately. So Blood Rage. Here we go with the bonuses. So these are the thresholds. 250, 2,500, 25,000, 250,000, 2.5 million. Again, they're just adding a 0 after things. Those are orders of magnitude. That's the way this game works. So the first bonus, Mark of Tiamat stuns enemies for 2 seconds. The second, Torgar adds a small AoE to his base attack at 50% damage. Dahani does that with her spec, right? So this is giving Torgar that same thing. The next one, enemies with Mark of Tiamat have their attack cooldown increased by 1 second. So survivability feature. You're not going to take damage as fast. The next one, Torgar reduces his base attack cooldown by 1 second, which just means you're going to spread those marks faster. And since he's now got an AoE at this point, you're just marking everything that's stacked up on your tank, right? The final threshold, damage bonus for Mark of Tiamat increased 200% multiplicatively. So again, just a lot more damage. So getting Torgar up to the 2.5 million stacks mark really unlocks all the features of Torgar and makes them fully active in your formation. Now, it's not gonna tell me here. Hold on, folks. I forgot. There are places with this game where they could be more transparent with information. And this I believe is one of them. Let me just double check here. I want to say there's more going on here. Yes. Okay. So again, as you reach certain thresholds, there are other thresholds that aren't showing up. Unfortunately, it's this part right here for marking Zealot, the Blood Rage bonus. There are stack thresholds to get that bonus up. It's 100% permanent Blood Rage bonus every time you reach a new level. Starts at 100 stacks and caps at 1,000,000. So markings of Zealot will cap long before Blood Rage, but just know there's upgrades there. Also, Dark Order Synergy has some upgrade bonuses as well, up to 500,000 stacks. So really the goal is to get to 2.5 million stacks to really make everything fire off. Dark Order Synergy, like the Blood Rage bonus, is 3,100% fully stacked up. Which makes it nicer, but still there's only 2 other Dark Order members, and it's just not... Here, I will show you. Hold on. Just so you can see what it looks like. I mean, it's an okay number, but it's not super amazing. There we go. EO5 bonus. You know, that's not bad. It's not bad, but that means you're using Archon as DPS. So this only really works in an Archon DPS formation, and in reality, Torgar and Krull aren't great with Archon in the current setup. So just Torgar as a support for other evil champions, amazing. But don't necessarily worry about the Dark Order. Items. DPS support, so we're swapping. We get 1 damage all champions. We get 1 damage for Torgar. We do get a Markings of the Zealot item, which is fantastic. You can ramp up those bonuses. We get a Preach item. Again, this would be the self DPS item, which mine has a nice big bonus on. But this is the support item, and yet ultimately my support buff does more than my self damage buff. Then we get Dark Order Synergy. Again, it's okay. And then reducing the ultimate attack. Feats, damage all champions, self damage, and then Dark Order Synergy. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a Preach feat. That would be the best. Doesn't have it. So when he's supporting, you just have to run either if you've got the Dark Order in, you can run a 40% Dark Order and 25% all champs damage. But if you don't, then you've just got to go both all champs damage. He needs more feats, which is a weird thing to say for a Minotaur. All right, Egbert's up is the final champion. Hold on, I gotta back up real quick. Achievements, folks. There are personal achievements for each of the champions in the event. I want to make it clear, though, these numbered achievements are not personal achievements. Each champion arrives with one, but they don't have anything to do with the champion themselves. This is the wrong event. It's kind of... We're in Highharvestide. So each of these champions will have arrived with one of these numbered ones, but they don't have to be done in that champ. They can be done in any Bandits Harvest free play. Now, it can only be... This is the only one that has to be done during the event. All other achievements can be done at any time. Either just generally or in a time gate for that champion. These numbered ones have to be done in the event. So if you want to try to get these done, 275, it could be a big push for newer players, but knock out whatever ones you can. during the event, and then when the event rolls around next year, because they happen every year, then you can be able to finish that off. Let us look at Dahani's. Dahani's is reach layer 2 in Dahani's Way the Brush. Again, pick that middle specs, get lots of stacks. That's all they're saying. That's all they're saying. Torgar, slow the rabble, reach 25,000 zealot stacks with Torgar. Again, use Torgar, build up lots of stacks. These are real straightforward for Dahani and Torgar. Okay. The other achievements that come with them are basically complete all 3 of the variants in the event. You can also do this in a time gate. Get a piece of gear for each of their equipment slots. Super easily done in the event or with Electrum chests. Egbert, to atone or not to atone. Complete an adventure while Egbert either has +9 atonement points or -9 atonement points. This is going to make more sense here in a moment. And I'm going to do this one live on screen so you can see how it works. I have waited, as you can see, I have no gear for Egbert. I have waited for this so that we can do this as an example. Hold on. All right. Egbert comes at us from the Oxventurers Guild. Egbert was the final champion from Oxventurers. So we have Corazon, Daub, Egbert, Merowyn, Prudence, and Rust. You can run your full Oxventurers affiliation runs now. Dragonborn Paladin. All the roles. Tanking, healing, support, and gold find. Everything but speed, basically. Everything but speed and DPS, right? So, just the super support. Basic attack, homemade bombs. Egbert throws a bomb at the nearest enemy, dealing damage and knocking back enemies in a small area. So this is an AoE knockback. This is neat. This means when Egbert's when Egbert's anywhere, but when Egbert attacks, he does in a small AoE, he's going to knock enemies back. This can keep enemies off of your tank, off of him or off of anybody else if you're using him not in the front column, which is possible with Egbert. Egbert doesn't have a ramping damage bonus based off enemies hitting him because of this feature. So that means if you're doing a multi-tank frontline or you have multiple tanks in, Egbert's going to be knocking back enemies and you're potentially not going to be getting any ramping bonuses. So you'll want to use Egbert in multi-tank frontlines potentially with other champions that are like him that don't need to be hit to build up their ramping bonuses. You can see even though this is a ranged attack, there goes the bomb. Even though he's a sword a mace and shield paladin, he's got an 8-second ranged attack as his base attack, which is hilarious. So we finally have a ranged tank. Some of us have been wanting this for a long time. It took us a long time to get a magic tank, but now we finally have a ranged tank. So we have a full set. There are variants where you can only use champions with ranged basic attacks. Now we've got a tank for that. So that's great. Tanks a lot, CNE. Let's talk about abilities. Atone for the past. So this is the core of Egbert's kit. I'm going to tell you right now, Egbert throws around some math words, but we'll try to explain this as easiest as possible. As we get through to some of these other abilities. Egbert has a number of atonement points equal to the number of lawful champions in the formation, minus the number of chaotic champions in the formation, not including Egbert himself. So Egbert does not count in these calculations. So we need 9 points, either positive or minus, for his achievement. That means the other 9 champions in the formation have to either be lawful or chaotic, because lawful adds a point, chaotic subtracts a point. So if you want to get +9, it has to be 9 lawful champions. If you want to get to -9, you need 9 chaotic champions. Okay, that's how this is going to work. Egbert increases the damage of all champions behind him by 100% multiplied by the number of atonement points he has squared. Sorry, folks, this is a math game. You're going to have to math. So if he only has one, if you only have one atonement point, 1 squared is 1. It's real easy. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. I can do this all day. I actually know my squares. But unfortunately, it's going to do the math for you over here. Right now I have 0 atonement points, and guess what? 0 squared is 0. It's because we have a chaotic and an oddly enough lawful evil. So we have no points going on right now, but we'll fix that in a bit. So just know you need to stick to either lawful or chaotic if you want to maximize atonement points. Otherwise, you just throw your formation together and you're going to get some atonement points. But potentially, if you're going all in on atone for the past, you're going to want to keep a little bit of alignment in mind. If you have a multiple supports that you could swap out and they're going to do just as good a job, try to get yourself the most atonement points. Lay on hands. This is Egbert's heal. So after Egbert makes a base attack, if there's a champion below 50% hit points, including himself, he heals the most damaged champion for 20, multiplied for an amount. This can vary. Multiplied by the absolute value of the number of atonement points he has. So the more atonement points he has, the more it's going to heal. It isn't 20. This number's going to that value is going to change. Just know these don't dynamically adjust, unfortunately. But absolute value. So what's absolute value? Just if there's a plus or a minus in front, just take that plus or the minus off and just deal with the number. That's all we're talking about. So if it's a negative, I mean, you can leave the plus, but if it's a negative, you're basically taking the negative away. So if it was -9. If we got to -9, you're just going to remove the minus sign and you're going to multiply 9 by whatever the number is, and that's what he's going to heal. Because they don't want you to leave the minus sign. And in this example, 9 times 20 and then 180, but then -180 and you're damaging your champion, right? So they're just basically, absolute value means you're getting rid of the negative sign so that you can positively heal your champions instead of damaging them. Friendly protection. Egbert increases the health of all other champions by 5% of his max health, multiplied by the absolute value of the number of atonement points he has. So once again, remove the negative. This is a unique feature. Now, friendly protection, the health share, is something that all tanks have. It's considered a core tank feature. But normally it's like 25%. That's it. Egbert's is going to vary based off atonement points. Now, if you get up to 9 atonement points, that means he's sharing 45% of his health. That's a lot. So potentially, Egbert, one of the most helpful for your formation in terms of providing lots of extra health. Depends on the atonement points, though. Everything's based off atonement points. More the merrier. Egbert increases the effect of Atone for the past by 100% for each enemy on the screen, and each point of enemy boss enraged, stacking additively. Then apply multiplicatively, but that's, all bonuses. But they stacks additively. So this is basically the stacking mechanic. Normally this requires somebody to be hit, but because Egbert has a knockback, they just make it for everyone on the screen. That's fantastic. And it's also going to count boss and rage stacks. That's fantastic. Well, enemies have enraged stacks too, but you don't see that unless you have 100 enemies on the screen. So this can basically stack up and up and up, and give you lots of extra bonuses when you need it, when you're not killing things quickly. That's a standard tank feature. Golden Scales. Egbert increases the global gold find by 100% multiplied by the absolute value of the number of atonement points he has. So once again, the more atonement points, the more benefit you're going to get from Egbert. All right. Lots to talk about with these champions. Specialization 1. Egbert has 2 separate specializations. This is the first one. Atonement begins with an apology. We're going to agree to disagree on that one. Or a team chaos team. The number for atonement, the number of neutral on the lawful chaotic axis champions in the formation is added to Egbert's atonement points. For chaos team, it gets added based off. It gets subtracted from their atonement points. So this is a way that you don't have to have only lawful or only chaotic champions in your formation. If you have a neutral good, neutral or neutral evil champion, They can also either add or subtract points as well. So this is just another way you can get things to a better atonement level. Now, what you're going to want to do here is figure out: have you been building mostly lawful, or have you been building mostly chaotic? Whatever your larger number is, you're going to want to then pick the specialization that matches the larger. Are you in the positives or are you in the negatives? Positives, atonement begins with an apology. Negatives, team chaos team. Okay. Pretty straightforward there. I'm just going to go ahead and go with the left spec. And then I'll build around lawful in a bit. Second specialization path. We're just going to go right into this. Smoky Bombs, Health Kick, Ox Venture Capitalism. Smoky Bombs is my personal favorite, but you do you. Egbert's bombs now also create smoke clouds that last for 10 seconds. Enemies in one or more smoke clouds take an additional 400% damage from attacks. So it's a debuff that makes them take more damage. And have a 50% chance to miss with their attack, which is fantastic. That's one of the best survivability features. Just every other hit they're missing, hopefully. Health Kick. Egbert's Lay on Hands targets the 2 most damaged champions instead of just the most damaged champion. And the amount of healing is doubled. So if you're looking just for to use Egbert as a healer, you would go for this. Oxventure Capitalism. Egbert increases the effect of golden scales by 100% for each Oxventure's affiliation member in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. So if you're trying to make lots of gold on your run and you're running a full, like a lot of Oxventure's people, you would go this one. But general usage, Smoky Bombs is fantastic. Is fantastic. Okay, pop this open. Tell me begins with apology. Lavashimo. I probably butchered that, but maybe I got it right. That's everything. Okay, let's talk about Egbert's ultimate attack. Clouds come down from the top of the screen and part, revealing the head of Lavashimov. Radiant light shines out behind Lavashimov's head and illuminates the area, because this is Egbert's god that he worships. Enemies take ultimate damage, and the champions deal 1,000% more damage for 20 seconds. So this is a damage button. Hit it. It's going to raise. It's going to do damage, but it's going to raise the damage on your team. Let me get these boxes out of the way, folks. Pay attention. It's a purple cow, folks. It's a purple cow. It just kills me every time. Holy cow, folks. Yes, holy cow. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yep. And it's going to slip away. Oh, God, that's fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, that just happened, folks. So that's Egbert. That's Egbert. We're going to get into the gear in a moment while I go get some. Egbert starts with 4 default feats because he has all the rolls. So we get increased damage on champions. We get health for him. We get lay on hands. We get raise your overwhelm point. He does get a straight up gold find feat. We get atone for the past. And then we get this gainful employment one is neat. This increases the effect of either Smoky Bombs, Health Kick, or Oxventure's Capitalism by 40%. So this just makes that second specialization choice better. I like this one a lot. I haven't opened any gold chests, so I haven't gotten any of these feats. But he's got 4 gold chest feats, so there's a lot to earn there. So he is a featful boy. He's a featful boy. Let us do. Hold on, this is the Resurrected Hero of the Veil. But what we're going to do here is we're going to back up. Let us build out. I'm going to get his his achievement. So right now I have 1 atonement point because I have 1 other person in this party, and they're a lawful champion. They're lawful evil, but it counts. Remember, we're looking at lawful or chaotic, so it's this first line. Do I have any other lawfuls that are out here already? Hey, sure. Let's bring in them. I think most of the people that I use are usually chaotic. Neutral. If it's pure neutral, that counts. That means it's neutral in both. So we can bring Valentine in because I chose that specialization that allows her to count. Right? I chose the one that lets neutral count along those lines. Krull can come out. Krull already got a level. They're chaotic. I'm going to have to swap to get stuff. I just wanted to see if any of these were... Well, Archon can come out. There. So now I'm up to 5 atonement points. So let's see. Who else do I have? Do I have... yeah, Lawful in the core group. Jarlaxle is neutral. That's fine. That'll work. Let's come down here. Dalina, what are you? Chaotic. Can't use Dalina. Hitch. Hitch is unlocked by the newsletter. Chaotic. Dang it. All right. I guess I'm going to have to go into my... There we go. Lawful. Into my event champions. So this is... Depending on your champions you have, you might not be able to do... This should have just worked. We might not be able to do this. Yeah, I've got 9 atonement points. Is this not working? Complete an adventure. So, folks, here you go. Always read the full text. What I have to do is I have to put this in when I'm finishing my adventure. When I hit the reset button, when I come up here and I go complete, for him to get the achievement. Oh, I have to do both. +9 and minus. That's right. I got to do both. All right. So this is how I would do the +9, and then you would just follow the same rules for the -9. We'll do this in a moment. I think what I want to do first, though, is I want to gear up. Egbert. So people are always like, what's the most efficient way to gear up your event champions? And I answered this a lot more in depth yesterday. But ultimately, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get you not to full epic as efficiently as possible, as although you want to do that, but there's no way to really do that super efficiently in an event. What we want to get you to is full blue gear as efficiently as possible. Chests can drop white, green, blue, or purple, but the purples have a low drop chance and a pity timer that starts at 1 in 4, but then goes to 1 in 10. So it's just about opening lots of chests when it comes to purples. But there are ways to guide yourself to get to blue gear much faster. What we want to do is, with event champions, we want to open those sweet, sweet Electrum chests that you get from streams like this one. I've got a couple hundred of them because it's been a while since we had an event. But Electrums can drop gear for every champion that you own. However, if a champion has no gear whatsoever, like Egbert, or has low-level rarity gear, like whites or greens, then if an upgrade drops in the Electrum chest, it's gonna kind of force its way onto that low-geared champion. So I have full epics on all my champions except for Egbert. That means all of the gear from Electrums is going to force itself towards Egbert at first. Now, that's not always going to be the way it works for a new player. You'll get things diffused a little more. But opening up all your Electrums first is key. Even if it doesn't all go to Egbert because you have other champions that need it too, you're going to get a higher chance of it going to Egbert than if you waited and opened up other chests for Egberts first, because then it's just random. Okay, so try to open your Electrum chests first in an event. After you unlock the new champions, dump all your Electrums like this. I have so many, but let's just say we had 50. We're going to see what it looks like. Boom, that gave me a piece of gear for all of Egbert's slots. Holy cow, we got 3 blues. So that's good. Out of that, I got a bunch of greens, I got a bunch of blues, and some whites for Egbert. So now if I look at Egbert, if I look at my collection for Egbert to really see what his gear looks like, disclaimer, collection is not on all platforms. This is the distribution that I got. So I got 3 blues, I got a bunch of greens, but I didn't get any whites. Oh well, that'll fill in later. But this is great because I want to get... But my goal with both Electrums and the named Egbert Silvers is to try to get full green. Any blues I get are bonus. Why do I want to get to full green? Because gold chests can drop green, blue, or a chance at purple. But with the gold, there are special rules. If you, it is going to always drop you an upgrade up to blue. So if you have white gear, it might give you a green. You don't, as your upgrade, you don't want that. That's inefficient. You just wasted it's not I mean, it's kind of like wasting a gold chest to get a green as your upgrade. You want to get blues. You want to get to blues as fast as possible, because blues are what, getting full blues on a champion is really what makes them truly usable, in my opinion. Like having a good amount of power, and then epics is a longer term goal. So open up electrums and silvers to try to get full greens, and then you're guaranteed to at least have a blue in every gold chest you open, maybe a purple, right? So it's just getting you to blue more efficiently. If I were to switch to golds right now, I would get blue upgrades or a purple somewhere. That's what we're shooting for. We're shooting for efficiency in chests. So electrums first, then silvers. Now I'm going to keep opening electrums because what I want to do is I want to get full blue. Because I can, because electrums can do it, and I have a lot of electrum chests, so I may as well get full blues straight out of electrums if it'll let me. Because what that means is then when I open those silvers, I'm getting full duplicate gear. I can't get any upgrades out of silvers if I'm already full blue. Duplicate gear is item levels for your champion, so that's power. Item levels are power. So I'm trying to shoot for as many... I got full blue. I still didn't get any whites. My OCD is kicking in a little bit. That's obsessive collection disorder, to be clear. So I have full blues. That's fine. I don't have, amazing item levels. There's a 3, there's a 1. Yeah, this should be higher. That's weird. It should be higher than 1, but it's not. So now I'm going to open, silvers. I have a bunch of them. Again, I opened bounty contracts. I told you at the beginning, save your bounty contracts for events so you get more tokens. This is what happens. I had thousands of bounty contracts. I opened them all up. I got hundreds of thousands of event tokens. Just ran my Modron automated party to 50 and reset over and over, and I got 78 silvers and 54 golds, right? So I'm going to open all of these. I'm going to get lots of duplicate gear. As you can see, more duplicate gear. Lots of duplicate gear. And that's fine, because duplicate gear is giving me bonuses to the rest of my gear. So if I come look down here, now I'm level 26, 37, 25, 31, 22, 24. This has made these items more powerful. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking to make the items more powerful. All right, now I can come to gold chests, and now I can hunt for purples. Now, again, purples are just RNG dependent. There's no guarantee that they're going to drop until you open a certain number of chests. Whenever you encounter a new chest for the first time, like a gold Egbert chest, the pity timer, that's that purple bar down here on the bottom, is going to be set to 1 guaranteed epic equipment in one of the next 4 chests. So your pity timer is set to 4. Now, once you open 4 chests, your pity timer is going to reset. It's going to reset to 10. Then you need to get 6 pieces of purple gear if you want to get full epic. 54 is the minimum number, or the maximum number of chests you would need to, not minimum, maximum number of chests you would need to open to get 6 pieces of gear if your luck was the worst ever. Because that means you ran full pity timer on every piece of gear. So I'm guaranteed to get, I'm just going to open all these. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Well, hold on. Let's do this one at a time first. If I get an epic, we'll see the pity timer reset. Hey, I got it. Egbert. Boom. Pity timer reset. You see? So this is me running ahead of the timer, which means I'm going to get it in less than 54 chests, but it doesn't matter because I had them all. Now every time I open a chest, the timer's going to, the pity timer's going to increment. Well, that's 2 epics and 2 chests. This is what we call streamer luck, folks. Okay, now my pity timer is going to increment. You'll see it's now 1 in 9, right? Every time you get an epic, it's going to reset. So now I'm just gonna open these in bulk. So I'll get all the other epics. Yep, there they are, and some duplicates. That's great. That's all. This is all going to be power for my items. So if I come back now, I'm full epic. Now I have 144 as my average item level. 141, 83, womp womp. 123, 170, and 80. Womp womp. So not the greatest distribution, but it is what it is. Oh, that's his health one too. Yeah, all right. Well, at least I'm full epic. So now I have gear for Egbert. Now we can talk about gear for Egbert. But that is going to be the most efficient use of your electrums and silvers and golds as possible during an event. When I didn't used to have this many chests up front, I would open electrums and then silvers, and I would just stack up my golds until the end of the event. After I'd done all my runs and got as many silvers as possible, or until I got to full greens. And then I would open the golds. Now that means you're not going to be using them at full effectiveness during the event, but it meant I was being the most effective I could be with my chests. So there's a tip if you'd like. Now let's go over Egbert's items. Damage all champions item, because he's a support. A gold find item. This is just straight up gold find bonus because he's a gold champion. Health item because he's a tank. He gets an atone for the past item. And he gets an item for those second specializations. So he's either going to... So that's the damage debuff. That's the healing increase. And that's the gold find. So depending on which specialization you choose, you're going to get a bonus based off this item. And then we have cooldown reduction. So he does have a variety in his items to help you out. Let's go ahead. I need to finish area 50 here to complete area 50 and get my random chest. I will do that during the break, and we'll reset, and then I'll set up a negative atonement run, and I'll get to all the questions. The Martin has been pulling them. We've got a dozen of them stacked up, so I will attack those in a moment, folks. During the break, this is a song for Torrigar. This is the original acoustic version of Savage Fire. Back in a moment, folks.
I serve this master on my own. I cling to no one, I just roam. Dark order calls and I do right. Cut across the ground like a devil's knife. Legions rise up in my command, slaying our foes across the land. And for my master I will die, but not before I take your life. Upon my fiery place will be your life bloodstains. The pounding drums of war will be this song's refrain. I am pure savagery, the primal rage untamed. I am a conqueror in her unholy name. Reckless anger, solo. Dark tower reaches to the sky. Ancient dragon circling high. Standing below, we wage our war for the queen of dragonkind forevermore. We are unstoppable, we are righteous land. We will set up free, our killers on this band. We are pure savagery and power rage untamed. We are the conquerors in her unholy name. Rise,
Oh, wait. Song's over. Uh, that's such a good song. Such a good song. All right, folks. I totally forgot to complete the adventure, so I'm just going to do this. We'll get... I doubt there's an indicator for having done this with +9, but now we're going to hop back in, and then I'll build out a -9 formation, and we'll let it run. And we'll let it run. The key is just making sure you go past 50 on these free plays so that you get your credit. You get your credit. All right, I need Team Chaos team to assemble. I'm going to throw in Egbert. Yeah. Oh, Dahani can stay out. She's Chaos. So now I want the Chaos. Now I revel in it. Is Artemis? No, he's lawful. He's not chaotic. Nahara? Yeah, Nahara. Nahara's chaotic. Now, again, you may not have the... we're going for the subtraction this time. You may not have the champions to do this with yet. Just straight up. You might not. Neutral's going to be fine. Neutral's going to be fine. So this may be something that you have to wait a bit to get to. And that's okay. Not everything has to be done immediately. She's chaotic, right? Yeah. Tell me Lizaps is neutral. That'll work. That'll work. Yorvin's got big chaotic energy, doesn't he? Yes, he does. All right. So, you know, you may not be able to do this achievement right away. But that's just kind of the way achievements are in this game. I have some I haven't done yet. I've got 12 achievements that I have not done yet. And I'm in no hurry. I get there eventually. This isn't a game where you rock it out for like a week and you're done, or a month and you're done. Like, I hate to break it to you. This is one of those games you run in the background for a very long time. And it takes a while. What am I at now? I am at 23,000 hours in this game. Just on this account. But that's 5 years, right? There are people who are well above me by like another 10,000 hours. So I'm not even at the highest usage. You're going to play for a while. Enjoy. Take your time. Enjoy it. Okay, hitting the questions. Let me find the ones that are specific to events, or this event first. I think I got one right away. Randram, I found it quite beneficial that this is my first event with almost 3 weeks before it came. Gave me more time with the slow start to collect bounty contracts. Yeah, to start with EO5 tokens. Nice. Which should be more standard as they become frequent, but wouldn't be if it happened after 2 weeks of playing. Yeah. But hey, save up whatever you can. Save up whatever you can between events. Personally, this wasn't really a question, it was a statement, but I'm going to turn this into a teachable moment. Personally, I save up all of my bounty contracts in between events, and then I use them all each event, and that gives me the same amount of gear for every new champion that comes out. Now, granted, I can full epic, but even before I could, I did this up until I just slow progress until I got full epic, and then I keep it up, right? That's my personal choice. Other people like to store and hoard their bounty contracts until a worth it champion comes out in whatever view they think is worth it, and then go all in. I'm going to jump down to a question that then this is this type of question. Or as Sub-Zero, I got full epic on all event champions. Should I pop bounty contracts for Egbert gear or wait until Krond in the next event? So the Krond is someone that a lot of people would go, oh, that's a champion that's worth saving up bounty contracts for. In this case, Sub-Zero, if you already have full epic, I think you can wait if you'd like, but here's the thing that you have to understand. Krond wants gear. First of all, he wants epic. He actually wants a golden epic. Right here, right now, he wants this. The golden epic vicious warhammer of orcish bloodlust. This is what he wants. He also, on top of that gear, wants all the item levels you can give him. All of them. I am at a shamedly low level of items levels for Krond, and yet he's still one of my top 6 DPS champions. But he needs a lot of item levels, and then he also needs an entire formation of people to go with him. Right, we're talking about bounty contracts. I'm going to explain something in a moment. Now, somebody's like, isn't Krond retired? Yes. There's this... I don't think they've patched this out of the game yet, but there's this thing where if you open up a time gate... Hold on. So over here, if you come in here and you see, hey, you can buy a gold chest for 10,000 tokens. If you were to open up a time gate for Krond right now, or during his event... the chest feature would show up, and it still has been showing and letting you buy for tokens. So what some people do is some people at end game who can easily full epic all the champions and then have lots of tokens left over, instead choose to open up a time gate and then spend those tokens on another champion. I personally don't recommend that style of play, but you do you. I'm giving you the information. At some point, they'll probably fix that, so you can't do it. I would rather just invest blacksmithing contracts on Krond. I mean, I can get gold chests with gems. I can open those gold chests. I can get both blacksmithing contracts and bounty contracts, and then I just pump all the bounty contracts into the event champions, the newest event champions when they come out, and then I put all the blacksmithing contracts into the other champions that I want to focus on. So I don't do that method. Some people do because they have so many gems and bounty contracts that they don't mind throwing 10,000 tokens at an old champion. Again, at a certain point in this game, you do you. But I wouldn't. So RS Sub-Zero, personally, I wouldn't do that because I find it inefficient use of stuff. But if you want to, just know that not only do you need tons of item levels on Krond, you also need a full group of champions that support Krond and have good item levels. He doesn't exist in a vacuum. He can't just be good on his own. He needs everybody else to make it work. All right, next question. Avrak, if you already have one of the champions, do you get something in their place, like a gold chest for said champion? I think this has to do with the unlock adventure. If you have already done these champions in the past, like Torgar and Dahani, I achieved in the past years, when this shows up, it's just a free play. It's just a free play. You don't even have to do it. And if you already did their variants, they're already done. So, and that's why I haven't done any free plays here. I already had them all geared out. The variants were already all completed. The only way to get more gear for champions that you already own and have already done the variants for is just to do free plays for them. in an event. Get more gear in an event, but it's something that allows you, if you've already collected the others, to focus just on the newest one, if you want. Feko Fafu, you get 1 basket in 5 seconds for each party, or only 1? No. No. 1 of these harvest baskets every 25 seconds. Period. Doesn't matter how many parties you have unlocked. Doesn't matter if you're running speed stuff. Again, there's no way to change that. It's 1 per 25 seconds for your account. That's why bounty contracts are important. These are bounty contracts. Those are tinies, smalls, mediums. There's a large. Bounty contracts are important because that's the only way to get extra tokens. Potions of speed do not help. There's no other way to change that. It is a server-side calculation. 1 every 25 seconds. As long as you're killing things. If you're not killing anything, it keeps track of how many you should have, and then when you kill something, it starts to catch you up. Modak, can special event achievements be completed after the event, or do I have to wait until next year? The numbered one has to be done during the event. So these get to a certain level in the free play. The free play has to be the event free play. It can't be a time gate free play. So these numbered ones have to happen in the event. Everything else can happen at any point in time. Fankofafu is Egbert is a chaotic character. Should we always choose chaotic characters? No, because Egbert doesn't count himself. It's in the text for Egbert. He doesn't count himself. Not including Egbert himself. So he doesn't count for or against you. It's everybody else in the formation for the atonement points. Gambler OG, would you consider the blue paint spec on Dahani when running Erois for the sake of extra synergy stacks on Nova? If you're putting Dahani in, so are you? So what I'm reading is you're using Dahani as the DPS with Erois people and not Lucius, because Dahani's not a support. So you would be throwing away Lucius to run Dahani, which is going to be negative. You're going to be down on synergy. I guess if you want to, you can, but you're losing out on her AOE ability and all of her self-ramping features just to potentially get a little more synergy on Nova, and I don't know if that's worth it. Do your own experiments and find out, but that feels a little Foolish Genius, does the debuff on Egbert's attack stack or duration reset when he whittles / Alindra as an attack super fast? I have a feeling it just resets. It's just going to probably reset. So with his where is it? Smoky bombs. It's probably just going to reset the 10 seconds. Like, I think this is just going to stack up stuff. There's going to be lots of clouds, but while a cloud exists and while they stand in it, it's just going to reduce. It's just going to do this reduction. I don't think it's going to stack. It would be really, yeah. You're going to have to ask for sure on like Dev Insights on that one, but I don't see it. Should just reset. There we go. Hawk Gremlin, is there a difference between increased gold find and global gold find? It's the same thing, different wording. Same thing, different wording. Yeah, it's just right up here. Gold find, global gold find. It's all the same thing. I don't know why they can't just. Somebody else wrote this. Someone wrote it one time and somebody else wrote it another time, because sometimes different people design these champions, so it gets put into the game in different ways. But yeah, gold find and global gold find, same thing. Same thing. It's just for this party. It's not for the background parties or anything. Kulma, so this relates to leveling up what we were doing earlier with all the gear stuff. So the item level doesn't reset to 1 when an item upgrades from rare to epic, or just goes up rarities? No. Item levels stick around. So you have, in any item slot, there's the rarity, there's the item level, there's the gilding, which is regular, shiny, or golden, and then there's whether or not it has a legendary effect. So there's 4 things that affect an item and are persistent and only get better. They never reset unless you remove them somehow, like with these dismantle events. But yeah, so everything only ever gets better. So if you get a white level 1 item, and you dump a lot of blacksmithing contracts onto it, which I don't recommend, but just for the sake of example, let's say it's white and it's shiny and it's level 1 and it's level like 30 for some strange reason. And then you get the green upgrade. Well, now it's green, level 32 or 3 or 4, because that's counted as a duplicate. And it's still shiny. So the shiny will persist, or the golden will persist. The item levels persist and only get higher. And the rarities only go up, and then legendaries get applied on top of that. Now there are some items that cap, so they'll be going up. Let's say you get to, it's these cooldown reduction items. So let's say because this isn't shiny, it's going to cap out at, like 500 and level 502. And it caps because it's an ultimate cooldown reduction. An ultimate cooldown reduction can only reduce an ultimate by 75% of the original value of the ultimate. So Brunor's is originally a 60-second ultimate. It can get down to 15 seconds. Going up more levels wouldn't matter. So it caps, and then all other item levels always will drop on the other items for the champion and never on this one again. But then when you get a shiny on this, that boosts the power and reduces the number of item levels that would require to cap, like here. And suddenly it would cap at 251 instead of 502. And then what the game does is it would so this is a case where the item level would go down. The effect remains the same because it's capped. And you actually get refunded all those extra item levels as blacksmithing contracts to put somewhere else. So, right now, things just get better. Foolish Genius, how does Egbert synergize with the other Ox Venturers? I mean, I feel like he runs pretty well with his atonement points with them. But otherwise, it's that gold find ability he can boost up with the other Ox Venturers. And then Merowyn specifically. Merowyn's Meat Grinder. Let's throw Merowyn in here. She's neutral, so she'll still count. Merowyn's Meat Grinder ability, her ultimate, actually has an effect for Egbert now and Daub. If we go down here, it's in here. So Egbert's Atone for the Past is buffed by 1,000%. So using them as a group, there are some bonuses, but one of them is going to come off Merowyn in her ultimate. The other would be the gold find. So they're effective together, but they're not necessarily required to be together. Daub's, if you didn't know what Daub's was from when Daub arrived, it increases deposit number stacks by 1% when you hit the ultimate. Minimum of 1 stack. So that's a neat way to stack up Daub's stuff. For those you want to know, though, here I am running a -9 on atonement points. Again, this means I have 9 absolute atonement points, and if we square it, that's 81, right? So for the square, we're doing 81, but everything absolute value is 9. I'm gonna answer general questions. We have room. If we got another 17, well, we have music, so maybe 12 minutes. If you've got questions, get them in now, folks. Nicholas, what is the best way to get familiars? I mean, there's some available for gems. There's some available. There's one available in each patron shop. Get it down here. You got to earn a lot of influence to get them, but there's one available here. There's now one available in tier 10 of the season rewards. If you can get to tier 10. It's right here on the free-to-play path. Otherwise, they're in the cash shop. So it really depends. I mean, what is the best way? I don't know. For someone with lots of disposable income, the cash shop, right? They get them all real quick. For someone without a lot of disposable income, the gem shop. And then once you've gotten all of those, then you hit the patron stuff, well, probably along the way, and look for stuff like this. So you kind of have to slowly collect familiars over time. There isn't a necessarily best way. Keone John, who are all the champs that have skills that last past resets? So stacking champions, permanently stacking champions. Black Viper was the first. She does have a permanent stack. It hits a cap, and you don't need anything beyond that currently. Hopefully she's going to get a rework at some point that makes her a little better. Zorbu, the killer gnome in slot 12. His stacks forever and ever and ever. He was the second champion to get that, and his was basically overpowered. If anything, Zorba might need a little pulling back, but whatever. And then Torgar and Dahani. These are the 4 champions that I can recall off the top of my head that stack permanently off of killing things. Now, there are a couple other champions that have permanent stacks that don't revolve around killing things. Nahara. Nahara has her Amuse Who Am I stacks. That's it. She gets a permanent bonus for her Who Am I stacks. It's a damage bonus that persists through resets, but it's based off completing areas. So you just want Nahara in as much as possible to run it. I've gotten 457,000 areas completed with her. You want her in as much as possible to stack up her Who Am I stacks. There's also Morgaine, who comes to us from the Ox Ventures, or not the Ox Ventures, Ack Inc. God, getting my IPs mixed up. Morgaine does it based off a high watermark of gold find. So the key with Morgaine is you don't want her in all the time. That makes no sense. When you're doing a deep favor run and you're grabbing your large amounts of favor, then you put her in for a little bit to grab that super high amount of favor and then pull her out. She just needs to, she looks at the highest that she's ever gained. And because we're dealing with large numbers, you don't need to constantly churn low numbers of gold find for her, because it makes no difference. You just put her in like when you're Azaka farming or whatever, and get her to a high water mark. Let's see where I'm at with her, actually. Wow, Arsenic, you've been using Nahara a lot. I should use Nahara more. Paid up front. I have E203 gold collected. That's a good amount. I didn't realize it was that high. Yeah. At a certain point, it's diminishing returns, and it's not affecting you a huge amount, but that's pretty good. Yay me. Yeah. So those are the ones that I can recall off the top of my head, but the kill ones are Black Viper. Well, Black Viper isn't even a kill one, honestly. Black Viper is also use her a lot. She has to collect red gems out of boss bags. So she doesn't even need to be killing. Zorbu, Dahani, and Torgar. Dahani doesn't have to kill either. She just has to paint them. Torgar and Krull have to kill. But usually you're throwing Dahani in with that group. So she paints everything, and then they can kill it or whatever, Or she gets the kills, or you don't necessarily want to run Dahani and Zorbu together. But Dahani or Zorbu run well with Torgar. Randram, wasn't you Krondir 1? Yes. And won't give chest next event? We kind of talked about that. There's a way to do it, but yeah, it's I don't know when they're going to fix that. At some point they'll fix that, and a lot of people are going to get real mad, but I'm going to be like, whatever. Matthias Zero, how do you get golden epics? Cash shop. 99% of the time it's going to be a cash shop thing. I think we got a golden potion recently as part of like the anniversary event, but golden potions are brand new, so that wasn't a thing that's happened. There are a couple available in the patron shops for very specific champions. It's not a potion; they're golden epics for very specific champions. But 99% of the time, you're going to see them like for this weekend. For this weekend deal, with the gold harmony chest, a golden epic is the sweetener, right? Sometimes it's feats, sometimes it's this, sometimes it's something else, but golden epics generally show up as part of this or in wild offers. Okuma, how often do you get a random character chest in free play for the events? Every time you complete the event after having complete a free play after getting to area 50. I've been over level 300 and not gotten one. Because you don't get it by pushing. You get it by finishing. You finish. This isn't a time gate. The time gates and events serve the same purpose. They deliver champions and gear. They do it in different ways. In an event, you just have to get to where I am now. I have to follow the stuff here. Complete area 50. Once I complete area 50, I'm going to get a random chest, right? So I look over here. I have a silver Egbert chest at the bottom of that list. I'm going to complete this. I'm going to get my achievement. There it is, to atone or not to atone. I'm also going to get, hey, I got a silver Egbert chest. Right? I have a chance. There's a 1 in 3 chance that this is going to be gold. And if I run 4 in a row and I get 3 silvers, the next one's going to be gold. So it's not about going deep in an event. It's just about doing the event. I mean, you go to 50, you reset, and you get a random chest. Now I'm going to have to rebuild the formation. That's fine. We'll put our 3 friendos out. There we go. Boom. So yeah, so that's how you get chests in events. It's not about having to push super far. But named chests for the champions. That's it. That's the only way to do it. Just churn those free plays. It doesn't matter. We're not really doing that. Oh man. I'm going to get to that one in a minute. I'm going to jump. What are some Random? What are some of the best high influence patron variants to start pumping influence for perks and purchases with? That's going to be in Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. I'm just going to name off like 3 of them from there because that's the first place that you really get some decent stuff. And that's going to be Ragadraga's crew for all patrons. The restriction here isn't even really a restriction, so enjoy. That's going to be Relentless Peril right here. This is one of those, you might not want to finish this one, but I did, and I just did Twilight Twist because this is super easy. They die, they get back up again. But that means you can get lots of influence and currency off this one. And then I think Madcap Adventures is a decent one. Also from over here, I don't find the Madness of Yenogu to be too difficult. It's some extra damage and stuff and a stun, but it makes things slow, but I don't find it horrible. So there are 3 or 4 here. There are 3 or 4 here that can get you lots of influence. And honestly, if you haven't even done a lot of patron stuff up until that point, that's going to get you enough influence just doing those to get to tier 4 or tier 5 in patron perks. Foolish Genius, I assume no, but do Azaka Tiger Dogs count as kills for stacking champs? No, they just bully things for their lunch money. It's just gold as if killed, but they don't count as kills. El Ramon. Dismantle. Why and when? The why and the when are kind of the same thing. When is easy. The only time you can do it is if they're offering it. This isn't available all the time. There's a legendary version going on right now, and there's a full dismantle for Heroes of Erois champions. Why can I not remember where they are? Here we go, Nova. Full dismantle, so everything and legendary all at the same time. So the win is just whenever they happen to offer it. They only do this after they've rebalanced champions in a way that they think would make people potentially want to change their investment on those champions. So the why is if they make this change and they change a champion that you had invested a lot into and you don't like the change, you can dismantle them. And what that means is you can do a full dismantle. What that means is it's going to strip all item levels up to 10,000. If you had over 10,000, well, that was a choice you made. Is basically what they're saying. You'll get up to 10,000 item levels, up to the first 10,000 item levels refunded as blacksmithing contracts. Your items, your gear will stay at whatever the highest rarity it was. So if it was epics, it'll just be an epic level 1. You'll get any shinies or goldens back as potions of polish or as potions of golden. And you'll get any legendaries you had kicked out as legendary potions of the same level that you could put somewhere else. Any feats you had purchased for gems will be refunded. You'll get the gems back, and the feats, you'll have to rebuy them again. So basically, it removes any investment that you put into that champion, or almost all the investment you put into that champion, and then you could put it somewhere else. And when it comes to just the legendary version, whenever they do one of these dismantle events, then they trigger the legendary version because you may have put legendaries on other champions to support one of these champions that got reworked, and thus you can remove those and put them somewhere else. So they're basically letting you adjust what's going on there. This happened for the first time when Ashara, Briv, and Human got adjusted, and honestly, I didn't have any issues with those. I did dismantle my Ashara, but then I put everything back on. I just used it as a way to get more potions of polish because Ashara was a core champion and there's things that go on there. But this time around, it's for the Heroes of Eros. These are all event champions. I'm not touching them. I like where they ended up. I think they are much better as a group. I think Ayla got a bit of a nerf, so if you went super hard on Ayla, yeah, do whatever you want. But I still think Ayla's a great tank. I always thought she needed nerfed, so I'm fine with it. Now they need to nerf Tyrell. That's the why, and the win is just whenever they happen to do a major rework. But do whatever you want to do. Like I said, I think everything pretty much got better or put to the point where I think it should have been in the first place. I'm going to answer these last two questions really quickly, hopefully, and then we're going to go to music because it's time to leave. Jetstream, usually silver Egbert chests would come from free play, reset, randoms, or a time gate. Correct. Do you know if there's any other way those can come up? No. That's it. If you run into some kind of bug, submit a ticket, see what happens. They'll most likely let you keep them. Dirty Monkey, do roaming Ultimate Familiars work on background parties? They're supposed to, but the background's really weird. So I would just do it in your active party. Just make sure you're firing that stuff off in your active party for any kind of quests or things. That's going to be it, folks. Thanks for hanging out. That ends the streams on this channel for the weekend. However, in about an hour-ish on my channel, you can see it right down there, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr, we are returning to Final Fantasy Saturdays. We're going to be diving back into the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. We're going to be starting up Final Fantasy IV today. So if you'd like to hang out with some retro gaming and have fun conversations about how games have changed, come hang out this afternoon. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Thank you to Martin for producing. Enjoy the event. If you have more questions, I've got a guide for that up on the subreddit or hit up the Discord. Bye, everybody.
When I look into your tan bright eyes, I feel a change inside I can't explain. Your long red wings become my everything as I